Hello everyone, this is 5 and welcome to Cobra Satchel Toy Review. And today's review we're looking at the 2011 release by Hasbro of the Marvel Studios, the Iron Man, the Armored Avenger action figure review. And today's action figure review we're looking at the Legend Series Crimson Dynamo, or also known as the Crimson Dynamo Mark V armor. Now I got this straight from a local toy shop near my work area for 69 ringgit and 90 cents. That's the retail pricing for a figure this size. Now upon purchasing this figure, the shop actually stocked in at least 20 over Crimson Dynamo figures, which is quite surprisingly to know that. And in all those figures, majority of them have paint problems, a lot of quality control issues. There were a lot of paint chips involving the silver painted areas such as the upper bicep, the upper thighs, the waist area, and including the chest area as well. There were a lot of paint chips going on. Then there were also paint smudges involving on the red parts of the armor, and also the visor was not fully painted. Some parts are, well, the edges are not fully painted. It just leaves out a bit of gap showing the red part of the armor itself. So it was really poor with the quality control issues from Hasbro. And this is the only figure that I found among all those 20 over figures. This is the only figure that is actually, well, better compared to the others. There's some paint problems, but not as bad as the others. Now let's take a look at the front part packaging itself. Now the top section of the artwork of the packaging, similar to the Titanium Man packaging, it involves a nicer artwork of the Iron Man in Mark VI armor. As you can see the triangular art reactor in the chest there, and his arm is raised up and he's charging his repulsor blast. Very nicely done. And the top section here we got a smaller logo of the Avengers Assemble logo involving the movie artwork. We have three of the main characters, the Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Very nicely done. Now inside the packaging you got the figure, and next to the figure is what packaged as the launching electricity blast, which is the same missile launcher being packed with majority of the Iron Man figures. It's been packed with, well, the movie 1 figures. It's also packed in the movie 2 figures. It's the same thing. The thing is, I'm so sick and tired of looking at that missile launcher. I don't mind Hasbro making another one, at least making a different new mold rather than reusing the same missile launcher over and over again. This is kind of, well, sickening when you look at it, if you collect a lot of Iron Man movie figures, that is. Now at the back portion of the packaging itself, top section here is a smaller write-up stated the mighty electrical powers of the Crimson Dynamo are enough to shut out even hardened military hardware. Even Iron Man, as well protected as he is, watches as system after system falls under the shocking assault. Once the Armored Avenger falls, the Crimson Dynamo will be free to turn his supercharged weaponry on anyone who opposes him. And then you got a nice little image post of the Crimson Dynamo and equipped with the what is called the electricity blast missile launcher, which is the same thing as from the other figures that's packed with the missile launcher. Here we have the other 3 figures for this wave. We have the Marvel's Initiative War Machine. This is very nice. And then we have the Stealth Strike Mark IV Iron Man armor, which is a repaint armor. As you can see, the missile launcher is the same as this one, no difference. And at the bottom is the Iron Man Mark V armor, the Evolution armor. This is a repaint of the original briefcase armor, but, well, repainted in black and gold, which to me doesn't look very nice at all. So without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the figure. Be right back. And we're back on the figure and the rest of the stuff out from packaging. Now inside the packaging it comes with the electricity blast missile launcher, which is the same missile launcher that's been packed with the rest of the, well, movie 1 and movie 2 and the Armored Avenger Iron Man figures. It's the same design with no change at all. Different paint job, of course. This one is painted in metallic red, but it looks more like raspberry red, a little bit darker than, well, normal red in paint job. And the mechanical parts is painted in silver, and the barrel as well. Bottom section of the clip-on is not painted, it's just pure plastic color. Now this is the missile itself, which is not painted. It's made of a clear orange plastic color, as you can see, and it's shaped like a cotton bud, as previously mentioned before. Looks like a cotton bud, and you can actually load the missile like so. That's the button on the top there, and when you load it, you push it all the way in until you hear a click, and then you press the button. You can launch the missile pretty hard. Now this missile is not intended for the figure itself, because like always they don't actually fit onto the figure very well. It's very loose, as you can see there. I don't want to go too much detail onto the missile launcher because it's the same, well, design and all. Also, I advise everyone not to use the missile launcher to clip onto the figure's hands, because since this figure is painted in metallic paint job, you tend to chip off some of the paint jobs, like some portion here. Now speaking of the figure's paint job, now the red is actually a bit darker in red compared to the back of the packaging. As you can see that's red. This is a bit darker in red, but it's still alright. But some portions of the red is a bit too dark, like, well, for instance, the right hand here, it's a bit too dark compared to the rest of the body, and so does this section of the hand here, especially on the bottom section of the hand is a bit too dark in colors. Now, despite that, the paint job here, as I mentioned before, this is among the, well, a bit better paint job compared to the other 20 Crimson Dynamo figures. This one still have some problems. The top section of the mask itself is supposed to be painted in silver, but it's a bit, well, thanks to the entire paint job, the red paint job for the helmet, the silver paint job looks a bit more pinkish. There's a lot of bleeding going on, starting from this end to the middle section here. It bled a lot of the red paint job. The visor is painted in metallic orange, but due to the red paint job going on there, it's a bit dark, and the gray paint job from this top section here, or let's call it the eyebrow, actually bled onto the visor a little bit. Now the black stripe that goes from the face here, or the mouth, all the way to the top part of the head to the back of the head, it stops in the back portion here, as you can see, but this line actually is supposed to go more up to this point, but it leaves a bit of gap here, so it's not really well done in painting. The figure's head, there's also quite a number of paint scraps, as you can see there. A lot of silver paint job also scrap onto that, some portion of the hand itself, but other paint job is actually not bad. Like for instance, the crotch area is actually nicely painted. There's no paint smudges. However, some paint job also cracked the moment I released this figure out from the packaging. As you can see, there's a bit of crack there. If I bring it a bit closer, I'm not too sure if you can see it. It's a bit of crack, as you can see a bit of line there. Now, the shading is actually not bad, but some parts of the paint job, the silver paint job, is not really fully painted, like this section here. This is the plastic color, this is the painted area. This looks a bit odd if you have him bent this way and it exposes the plastic color. The back portion of the butt here is a bit darker, same sort of, well, darker in red compared to the hands there. Otherwise, the figure's paint job is alright, but quite a number of paint smudges going on. As you can see, a lot of paint cracks, but it's still alright. It's better than the other 20 Crimson Dynamo figures that I've seen. Now let's take a look at the figure's mold. The mold is actually fairly new. Actually, there is no reuse of molds for the Iron Man figure lines, and I already compared this to, well, especially on the Titanium Man. Let's do a size comparison of the Titanium Man. You got the Titanium Man here, and you can see that Crimson Dynamo is actually a bit taller than Titanium Man, which is kind of ironic because Titanium Man is supposed to be, well, this humongous tall armor, and the Crimson Dynamo Mark V is taller than him, which is kind of ironic. Now the chest piece here is an add-on piece, but it's actually glued onto the torso. It looks very nicely done with the details there, as you can see, and the back portion is the backpack, and as you can see, they don't bother to paint the backpack there, which is kind of disappointing. There's a lot of, well, muscle tones being applied onto the thigh, the upper bicep, the waist there, the neck, very nice. The head sculpt is also very nicely done, very comic accurate to the Crimson Dynamo Mark V armor in the Marvel comics, especially in the Iron Man comics. The lower part of the legs is very nicely done. All the serrated armor parts. One side of the hand, left hand side of the hand, is enclosed with the gripped hand, as you can see there. The other side of the hand here is open up, as you can see. Now, the bottom section of the boots here, there's no sculpt at all, so it's quite disappointing. There's no boosters being sculpted on, and if you compare to the Titanium Man, there's a lot of difference there, yes. But overall, the figure's mold is very nice. I really like the amount of details they place onto the figure's mold. Problem is, as you can see, the glue held onto the the crotch area there starts to seep out. Not really well done, and it's in orange. So that's this section here, but this one is a lot. There's also some problem with the sculpt. As you can see, there's a bit of chipped off plastic on this side of the ear here. Not really well done. It's a very nice mold, but not perfect. There's a lot of quality control issues going on. Let's take a look at the figure's articulation. After removing the figure out from the packaging, the figure's joints were frozen thanks to the paint job, so I have to free all the joints. The moment I free the joints, half of the joints there starts to loosen up quite loose. First things first, the neck joint here has a hinged ball joint, so you can pivot the head upwards, downwards, and turn 360 degrees. Very nice. Torso joint here is on a hinge joint, as you can see here. You can go forward and back, as you can see. Waist joint is a bit loose. Actually, it's not too loose, but it's a bit loose. Shoulder joints here is a bit difficult. If it's frozen, you have to try keep massaging the joint itself, because it's hindered by the shoulder piece here. You can move forward, back, and you can raise the arm this far. Upper bicep here, turn 360 degrees. Double jointed elbow, as you can see there. Wrist joint here, turn 360 degrees and go outward and inward. Very nice. And then you have the hip joint that's on the ball joint that goes outward this far or forward. And then we have a servo tie that turns 360 degrees, like so. Then we have the knee joint that is double jointed that bends this far, very nicely done. And ankle joint is on a hinge joint, but it turns 360 degrees, goes downward and upwards. Very nice. Now the articulation is very nice, but some portion is a bit loose, as you can see here. So does the waist as well, and so does the shoulder joints as well, especially on this portion here. It's a bit loose, but it's still alright. It can still stand pretty well. Overall, the figure's mold is really nice. I really like the mold, but could improve a little bit, because I really like it when they do make some sculpt on the bottom parts of the boots itself. It looks pretty bland, it's just flat out like that. And the paint job is a hit and a miss, so you have to be really extra careful with the Crimson Dynamo figure. You have to go through and check each and every one of them for the quality control issue with the paint job, paint chips or paint smudges and so on. So you have to be extra careful on that. Other than that, the entire figure looks really great. But articulation wise, when you pull this figure out from packaging, you have to have a little bit more patience trying to massage the joints to loosen up. Otherwise it will be a bit problematic for you, because especially on the shoulder joints here, it's quite limited due to the shoulder pads, and you cannot turn the shoulders 360 degrees, so you have to try to push it back and forth, try to massage it so you can loosen the shoulder joints, if you encounter that kind of problems, of course. Overall, the figure is actually nice. I just don't like the accessories. The accessories is just pure pointless, but the figure is very nice. With the paint job is okay, but the mold is really great. So if I'm going to give a rating out of this, I'll give it a nice 7 out of 10 for the Crimson Dynamo. And I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05, and I'm signing off.